Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about scenes, recalling them, saving your own, how that works. As the admin here, I can set basically certain things that are locked out to the youth center user. And unfortunately, when I chose to lock out the delete scene function, that's also the same function apparently on this console as the naming function. So you're going to be able to actually store your own scenes, but you're not going to be able to name them. If you want to have a scene named after you, you're going to have to ask Pastor Jake to do it on the admin, and then you can continue to save over it. You cannot delete though. So what I actually did was I made a couple of scenes with names of people who might be using this desk. So let's log into the Youth Center user here. As you can see, when you log in, it's going to recall the scene that's called Youth Center, which is okay. It's a good starting point. Okay, you've been logged in. Cool. If you are now someone who has their own scene, what you would do is hit Scenes, and you would scroll down to your scene. So let's say Daniel wants to recall his scene. Scrolls to Daniel, hit Recall. Do not hit Store. If you hit Store, you are overwriting that scene with whatever the current state of the desk is. So let's recall Daniel. Now Daniel's scene is on. Now Daniel mixes a show. He's here for an hour. Let's say he decides to do some EQ on the keyboard, and his EQ is just fantastic and he loves it, and it was way better than it was at the start of the day. Well, good. Now he can just go back to Scenes. He's going to scroll to Daniel. Now he's going to hit Store. Whatever the current state of the desk is, that's how it's going to recall when this scene is recalled next time. So I like to store scenes at the very end of the night once I have muted the PA. So I come down here, I mute the mains, mute the subs, mute both the monitors, and then I hit Store. That way next time you recall this scene, nothing can go crazy. Okay, apparently it just doesn't pop anything out, but just stores. So there is a scene for Daniel. There's a scene for me. Don't expect any special stuff on my scene. That was probably just a test. In fact, there probably could be some stuff on there that's not even routed right, so don't go there. There's a scene for Daniel on scene 10. There's one I made for Stephen Chowdy on 15, Matt Chowdy on 18, if he happens to be using this. I'm not sure who exactly does. And there's Derek, a person who I actually haven't met, but I've heard his name mentioned a couple times. And then Brandon has one way down here at 45. It's important to know, though, when you are logging into the Allen & Heath GLD-80 at the beginning of the day, when you log into Youth Center user, even though you have your own scene, by default, it's going to pull up Youth Center. So as soon as you're done logging in, you hit Scene, you scroll to your name, and you hit Recall. A scene basically is like a save as. And again, if you are someone other than these people and you want to have your own scene, you can't store your own scene, but you cannot name it. If you want to name it, you're going to have to store it, remember which number it is, and tell Pastor Jake that you need him to log in as the admin and go into the scenes menu and then click on scene 27 and change it to your name.